Okay, this is my first art lesson with my daughters. My first art lesson with my daughters, Gracie and Sophie. First, I should say, first oil painting lesson. And I decided, just to encourage them, to get them used to handling the paints, to just go with a very basic Bob Ross type style lesson. So this is Sophie's attempt. First attempt at oil painting. I think it came out very well. Like I said, it's very simple Bob Ross type style painting. So some of the techniques, just to get them used to it. Got this nice little setup from Michaels. It's like an easel and an oil painting brush case all in one, and whatever other supplies you want to put in there. We just worked with the primary colors plus white and brown, no black, but just mix the brown and the blue for a dark color that's like black. I never use black. This was Sophie's. This was Gracie's. So again, this was their very first oil painting class. I decided to go with this. I thought this would be a little more encouraging and fun than, starting off with a still life or something like that. Just use pretty much oil paint and paint thinner. That's it. So it'll take a while to dry. That was my demonstration piece that I did to encourage them. You can see some of the. It's not a very good Bob Ross attempt, but that was pretty much the style that I was using to encourage them, because it allows you to get a finished looking painting pretty quickly. So it was pretty messy. We have a small space to work in. Not much ventilation. Got some fans over here. Trying to. Oh, I have another fan in the other corner to try and that's behind me, but I could feel it slightly, so it is working to create some ventilation. Sophie, did you feel the air? Did you feel the air blowing when you were painting? Okay. I didn't have all the nice tools there. I didn't have the fan brush to work with, so I pretty much just worked with a big brush to do this. I also used the regular palette knife, not the Bob Ross, kind of palette knife over there. Where is it? Yeah, there's the tip of it. My daughters were using them. But all in all, it was pretty good. When I was going to high school, I went to Fiorello LaGuardia High School of Arts and Visual Art and the Performing Arts. And I remember one teacher spoke very negatively of Bob Ross, saying he wasn't an artist and he was just teaching tricks. And I think that this is not an uncommon attitude toward Bob Ross. But I think that Bob Ross really did something great in that he gave a way for the common person to learn how to paint pleasant pictures, pretty pictures. And I know to say pretty pictures isn't always a favored term to use in art. to say pretty pictures. But I think that it was nice what he did. I think that he had a nice program. People enjoyed hearing his voice. And I think the artwork that he was creating there, he admitted it wasn't fine art. It wasn't really I guess, classical art. But he got a lot of people painting and enjoying watching painting. And I personally would rather look at his paintings than a lot of things that I had seen hanging in art shows and you know, modern art and things like that I'd seen. A lot of that stuff I thought was garbage. So I appreciate his artwork, and I think it is a good way to start someone off painting, because it's encouraging. They get to use their imagination, and you get can get a pretty quick, decent looking landscape. Now that, you know, I think there's something about landscapes. It seems that people just generally, whether a person's learned in art or not, people can appreciate landscapes. I think that the way God created things, there is something in the way he created human beings, and they have a natural instinct to appreciate nature. And not only that, he made us with an ability to grasp how to appreciate natural landscapes, nature, and to paint pictures of nature pretty easily. And I think that's what Bob Ross illustrated. I mean, to do a quick portrait painting would be very difficult, and or realistic painting. But for some reason, God created things so that it's pretty easy to do a natural landscape image pretty quickly. Now that I'm looking at this image, I see that I neglected the famous reflection. That's the thing that's missing in the water. It's missing the reflection. I should have done that reflection of the mountains. But I think that there is something to say about the way that generally people all over the world, different ages, can appreciate landscapes. And I've been appreciating them more now that I've been getting older. My father always liked landscapes, and I always kind of didn't really appreciate them so much. But now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to appreciate them too. So I'm glad I got to do this class finally with my daughters. I was working on a painting for, well, on and off, it took me 20 years to finish. It was a painting that the idea of it came to me in a dream, and I'm planning to do a video on that painting soon. And I really believe that painting, that God had inspired me with that vision in the dream. And there was something an unusual feeling I had in the dream when I was looking at that painting. And praise God, it took me 20 years, but I finally finished that. But I was thinking in the last year or so that I told my daughters, as soon as I'm done with that painting, as soon as I'm done with it, I'm going to teach you oil painting. I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm going to take this down, I'm going to put my things aside, and I'm going to teach you how to oil paint. Now, I didn't know how long that would be, but finally I have finally finished that, and so I'm happy to have been able to finally do this first lesson with them. All right, so that was my First oil painting lessons with my daughters, and hopefully they'll become better painters than I am.